remember as a child drinking Dallas tap water, and it tasted like kerosene. And I remember how it'd make me get a headache, and how when I'd brush my teeth with fluoride, I'd get a headache, and I'd have to lay on the couch. And I'd never heard fluoride was bad, and I knew. And I remember one of my parents was saying, is there some kind of other toothpaste that makes me sick? Just like when I was 5, 6 years old, and was carbon monoxide all over the road because they didn't have catalytic converters yet, and I'd get sick driving into Dallas. I'd say, I don't want to go into Dallas. I don't want to be in traffic. I don't want, to drive to work with Dad today, because it was a holiday or something. I don't want to breathe all that. I didn't know what carbon monoxide was. I just knew 5, 6, 7 years old, I got sick driving into work. We lived outside Dallas, on the edge of Dallas, when we drive into Dallas. I mean, come on, folks. You can taste food when it's rotten, can't you? When you drink milk and it's rotten. Don't you have any survival instincts? Look, I understand men that love football. I understand people that are into things like that, but that's a simulation of a tribe, of an army, of your men you're rooting for who are going out there and fighting the enemy, and it punches buttons in your brain that are about survival. It's simulated war. And, I've taken my son out. He's really good at swimming and other sports, but I never spent much time with him on football, so he's not that good at it. And I watch these dads who are just incredibly competitive and crazy-eyed and really, into it competitively, but almost in a sick way. And they go to go to schools and things I've seen, because my children are only in school twice a week. They're homeschooled, but then they're in regular school. It's like a homeschool/school twice a week. And dads come off work on recess to play football and get all serious. And it's like, what if the dad was serious about knowing what's in his children's water? What if they were serious about the legislature and using that warfare memory, that warfare program, that warfare system on real warfare in the modern battlefield? Not getting real serious about this is war, this is success on this football. That's a simulation to shunt all of your male energies off into something that doesn't matter. And you see men at football games. Occasionally I'll go to one, and they're strutting in, and they're sitting down, and they're feeling manly, getting their endorphins going for combat, to watch simulated combat. Meanwhile, there's drones flying above you. Meanwhile, they're militarizing the police against you. Meanwhile, they're garnering enemy databases and files on every man, woman, and child in this country. Meanwhile, there's a scientific murder system set up, and I've got to watch men run around like little children and let their children be groped and violated as prisoners so they can have the so-called American pastime of bringing their children into a football game and paying $10 for an iced tea or $7 for a hot dog and being ripped off, while a bunch of swollen steroid, human growth hormone heads run around and fight with each other, and you teach your children that's who you idolize. Not Thomas Jefferson, not George Washington, not trailblazers, not firefighters that go into burning buildings, not mathematicians. And you wonder why 100 years ago in America, trailblazers were our heroes. Scientists were our heroes. And so we have the greatest scientists, the most wealth, and the highest test scores. Now our heroes are, at best, men who can put a ball in a basket. And again, at a primitive level, that goes back to the Greek games of who could run a marathon the best. I understand being into athleticism and being into human exaltation in energy and how far can humans drive each other. But physically is an ancient caveman system. I see men constantly putting themselves into positions to feel physically powerful, and that's important. Because when you produce those hormones with the exercise, it will also develop the others associated with higher thinking. But the real war is for the mind. The real war is in understanding reality. And reality is so much wilder. The general public is in a false, stunted, shut down, tiny spectrum of reality. A very small Madison Avenue advertisement system. What it is to be a woman, what it is to be a man, what goals are in life. People are taught to feel unfulfilled. People are taught to trust the system, the drug ads, all of it. It is a scientific global domination system. And all cultures attempted to dominate every other group around them. And the most popular form of total domination was total extermination. In every culture. Aztec, Roman, Jewish, Chinese, it doesn't matter. Vandal, Visigoth. Here's one, Daily Mail. War on the Red Empire. How America planned for an attack on Britain in the 1930s with bombing raids and chemical weapons. The plan was green-lighted, but then finally when he got in office, Roosevelt said no. But the U.S. war planners wanted a way to get the United States and the Department of War, that was before they used better psychological warfare and call it the Department of Defense, and a plan to take over the British Empire and set up world government themselves. That is in the Daily Mail today. And yes, they were going to nerve gas most of the people in England. And of course, that was at a time when they were talking about making a deal with Herr Hitler, which we tell you about in Endgame. But the decision was made instead to side with the Fabian socialist. Be right back.
What you're about to hear are the real experiences of women over 40 who finally lost weight by becoming hormonally balanced again.
I lost 20 pounds.
I lost 40 pounds.
I lost 55 pounds.
I went from a size 14 to a size 8.
Their secret is Amberin, the revolutionary formula for women over 40 that balances hormones naturally. The leading cause of weight gain over 40 is hormonal imbalance. Until you balance your hormones, losing weight can be practically impossible. But Amberin restores hormonal balance naturally, so the weight can just fall right off, even that stubborn belly fat. Plus, Amberin eliminates other symptoms of hormonal aging, like hot flashes, night sweats, low libido, difficulty concentrating, and more. Be one of the first 50 callers right now, and they'll send you a complimentary risk-free trial with a 30-day supply. Free. Call 1-800-737-9107. That's 1-800-737-9107. 1-800-737-9107.
You don't need me to tell you that humanity is in a deep crisis. Everyone can feel it. We know a tectonic struggle is now taking place between the forces of freedom and those who love darkness, bondage, and enslavement. Yes, my friends, evil is rising. But take heart. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Recently, New World Order operative Hillary Clinton admitted they're losing the info war.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
The globalists are scared. They've overreached. The future of the info war is in your hands. Join PrisonPlanet.tv. Download the thousands of special video reports, ebooks, and more, and get them out to everyone you know. Continue to spread the word about the broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and every other globalist propaganda platform. We are going to use their system against them. The info war now goes into high gear.
Calling all shooters, Obscure.com is your source for targets and head-to-toe tactical gear. This week only radio listeners save 25% on our exclusive shooting targets. We've got training targets, 3D targets, Zombie Osama, and our exclusive real threat targets. Check them out at Obscure.com. Use coupon code GCN at checkout. That's GCN and save 25% on all Obscure targets. Plus, we give away great gear each week. Visit us at Obscure.com. That's OPSGEAR.com or call 888-239-1384.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Hi, Ted Anderson. I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Kurt Haskell, survivor of the underwear Christmas Day bomber, who's been going to the trial of the mind control minion, Muttalib, is going to be joining us with breaking news in the first 30 minutes of the third hour. Then the head of Euro-Pacific Capital, who's really been extremely accurate on calling what would take place in the economy, Peter Schiff is going to be joining us because I want to get his take on the stock market plunging today. We'll continue to watch that and track that, get into the politics section of the news. I do want to get into some of the big developments over in the Middle East, but I also want to take your calls in the next hour on any of the subjects I've raised. But does it concern you Here's the headline, Washington Post, a future for drones, automated killing. So it's not enough to have a zit-faced 20-year-old 8,000 miles away sitting there giggling, eating Hot Pockets and drinking Diet Coke, and I've seen that on the news, dropping bombs on a whole wedding party to kill one person. Disconnected from the killing, very manly. Well, now you're going to be taken completely out of the equation, and it's going to be automated. And then the globalists don't need you. And their big goal is to have a big enough drone fleet where they can have the robots load the bio or chem weapon and then deploy it against you. And again, the Sunshine Project 12 years ago got declassified documents that the Marine Corps then contacted them. Those documents are posted on their archive. They've since shut down due to threats, but the website's still up. We need to get the former head of the Sunshine Project on. Like, I'm going to have do that. That's important for the TV show. I know it was based out of Austin. And it said, the Army and Marine Corps are working on drone programs for lethal and non-lethal drones to knock out whole cities. Just like, this wasn't a drill. You can read the Daily Mail. It's now been declassified. 70-plus years later, from the mid-1930s, a plan to nerve gas England and its other islands and take over the empire. So this is what governments do. This is what militaries do. That's like in third world countries. You always hear about the military overthrowing the government. It ends up happening 100% of the time. Long enough in Asia, Africa, or Latin America. It happens 100% of the time in every other system. It just happens within a few decades in third world countries. It always happens within 200 years of any system. Oh, except for America. 230 plus. We've got the record. But it's already gone. We just think the republic's still here. By admitting it's gone, we can get it back because it's not a living thing. It's eternal. It's an idea. It can be resurrected. But you have to breathe life into it. And it does take the blood, sweat, and tears of patriots. You don't have a future without committing and fighting this, okay? I want to get that across to people. There is no decision. There is a decision, but it's a sick joke. You can be delusional and decide to go along with this system, or you can decide to research what I've said and find out it's true. And then I have enough respect in you that you're going to find ways to beat these people. There's a million ways to skin a cat. We're going to hit them from every angle. There's only a few thousand of these globalists. So that's all coming up, and they've got more articles about drones. U.S. drone bases in Africa to focus on al-Qaeda. In North Africa, they put al-Qaeda in Libya. That's how dumb the globalists think you are. That's London Guardian. Before I go to breaking in this hour, don't forget InfoWars Nightly News. We're going to send out the entire show, including an interview that I didn't air last night because we ran out of time with Dr. Wakefield, the second part of it, today after the show, to anybody who's signed up at InfoWars Insider. Go to InfoWars.com to InfoWars Insider, right up there at the top. You can see the little banner, InfoWars Insider. Put your email in, click subscribe. We'll send you last night's incredible transmission on eugenics. A full spectrum breakdown in an hour of current murdering of foster children in the U.S. with chemical and biological testing on them. What's going in the vaccines and more, InfoWars Insider. And if you're not a subscriber to PrisonPlanet.tv, we're going to be on tonight, 7 o'clock. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
Hello, friends. Alex Jones here. You all know I've worked for years with Steve Shank and eFoods Direct. I have eFoods for my own emergency food supply. You know, Steve, life is different now for all of us, isn't it?
Very different. People are using this great food to survive the present hurricane season, and we've already had $40 billion worth of damage from floods, storms, quakes, and droughts. And that's just the first 8 months of this year. Natural disasters are newsworthy, but only touch a few of us Americans. The huge issue of the Greatest Depression is on everyone's mind. The unemployment, the loss of homes, lost businesses, and skyrocketing food costs are hitting every American. So everyone needs food security.
Folks, this month you will get free shipping on every food order from eFoods Direct. That's right. Every order gets free shipping starting September 6th. Get stocked up with the best storable foods out there with eFoods Direct and be prepared for any emergency before it happens. To take advantage of this special, call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com